Hey there! In this video, I'm going to show you how to deploy a static block using DeployHQ to your own server. To get started, you simply open your DeployHQ dashboard and you create a new project. First, you can pick any name. I will simply call it my block. And then you can pick where your code is hosted. So for me, that is GitLab. So I will just select GitLab here. And then you can already click Create Project. Next, you will have to select the repository. So I will simply click here on my block, and DeployHQ will import everything in that repository. This will take a few seconds, and once it's done, you can already add your server. You probably don't have a server yet, so we will just go ahead and create one. I'm using Hetzner here, which is a German cloud provider, but really you just need a simple VPS, and there's a lot of providers. You can use AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, DigitalOcean. There's an insane amount of providers that you can choose. So I will click Add Server and simply launch an Ubuntu server in Germany with an SSH key that I've previously already set up. Then I will click on Create. And this will take roughly 10 to 15 seconds maybe until it's booted. And then we can already copy our IP address here. And using that IP address and the SSH key that we've set up previously, we can log in using SSH. So we type SSH root, which is the username. Then we copy paste our IP address. And then I would select my SSH key here that I've set up. And now you see I'm logged in to my server on the account root. Now the first thing you should always do when you get a new server is run apt update to update all the software on the server. Now again, this takes a few seconds. And once we're done here, we're going to create a new user for DeployHQ to use. So we're going to type add user DeployHQ. DeployHQ here is the name of the user that we're creating. And then it will prompt us to enter a new password. I've already have one in my clipboard that I will just copy paste here. And then it's going to ask for some more information that is not really relevant for us. So we just skip that. Now we need to give our user some permissions. In this case, I'm just giving it the admin permissions just to make it easy here. And now we can already log in using that user. So we open a new terminal and type SSH DeployHQ, which is the username, and then the IP address. And now it will prompt us for the password we just entered. You enter the password. And you can see we're now logged in as the user DeployHQ. Now, there's a few things we need to do here. First, we want to create a new directory where DeployHQ will do all of its things. So we're creating a new directory called my block, and then change into that directory. Now that we have one, there's one more thing. Our block is completely static, so it's just HTML and CSS and our images and so on. And we need a file server to serve that to the internet, basically. You could use Nginx or Apache or any other file server. In this case, I'm going to use Caddy just because I know it. So I will just copy paste the installation steps for Caddy here. You can also just follow the official documentation for that. So we're first adding the keys. And then we can run sudo apt update. And when that is done, we can run sudo apt install caddy, which will then finally install caddy. And once that's done, you can verify that caddy was installed correctly by running caddy version. And then you should see output like this. We just get a version printed. Now Caddy already started in the background, so we're just stopping that for now. And then we're going to run Caddy as a file server. So we run Caddy file server, and as a root, we use the dist directory. This doesn't exist yet, but DeployHQ will create it later on. Now this is running in this terminal right now. So if we close this terminal, this is gone. So for production ready setup, you would probably want to create a system service instead. You can now already take this IP address and just open it in your browser, and you will get an error 404 because there's no files yet. This is what DeployHQ is going to do for us. So we're now going back to our DeployHQ dashboard, and we're going to add the server. So we will pick a server name, which is just hetzner-vps. Then we select the host name, which is our IP address, the username, which is DeployHQ, the password, which you entered earlier, and then the deployment path, which would be my blog. Now you click Create Server. This will take a few seconds. And before you now deploy it the first time, we have to do one more extra step. So we go into Build Pipeline and click on New Command. Because every time you want to deploy you want to do a new deploy, you need to first install all of your dependencies, then build using npm run build, and then actually upload the output of that. So we're just going to do npm install, npm run build, and then we're going to delete the node modules ordner folder because we don't need that. And this is dependent on the actual framework you're going to use. And because we're just using Astro here, this is very simple, and this is the default node setup basically. So you click Create Build command. Then you can go to Deployments and click on New Deployment. Now, DeployHQ here selected the commit from your Git repository that's getting deployed, and you can click on Deploy. DeployHQ is now going to clone your repository on a separate server, run the build commands we just added, so npm install, npm run build, and then deleting the node modules folder. And then it's going to upload everything to our server. And once this is done, and we go back to our IP address and we refresh, you're going to see that the block is now successfully uploaded, and we can access it on our IP address here. This is already the basics. There's a lot more things you can do. So what you can do now is look at, for example, integrations. So you could send messages to your Slack whenever you deploy. You could set up automatic deployments. So as soon as you push to your repository, it can automatically be deployed. And you can also do things on your server like setting up SSL, so you can use HTTPS, etc. But this is the basic setup.